oh, someone's watching our show and they're getting disinterested. Let's flash something they fetishize in front of them to keep them glued to the TV, bro. It's probably also creepy factor. All the people with foot watching a show about 15 and 16-year-olds. You have a foot fetish. Guys, we need to talk, all right? Recently, your boy Peablar has been watching some Netflix original shows. Really, one in particular, which we'll get into. But I stumbled upon something that goes even deeper than I could have ever initially anticipated. I was thrown off guard, disturbed, and even surprised by what I was uncovering when I was researching for this video. And what could possibly be so strange, so weird? I'll tell you, Buster. I believe Netflix either has a rogue cameraman or Netflix has a systematic foot fetish problem that needs to be addressed ASAP. So let's waste no time, guys. Buckle up and grab a pair of socks because I'm your boy Peablar. Without further ado, let's jump right in. So before we begin, I'd like to start off by saying that this is all conspiracy theory compiled of my own opinions alongside other people's opinions that I found online. Nothing that I'm going to say today is a fact or anything. It's just some weird things that I've noticed, and I'm gonna tell you guys how I feel about it, all right? Please. But to understand how I opened up this can of worms in the first place, let me take you back to when I initially became privy to these odd themes. So a few weeks ago, I was watching the latest season of Love on the Spectrum, a show that follows individuals on the spectrum in search of love, dude. It's pretty self-explanatory, all right? Honestly, the season was lit. The show's great in general. It's entertaining as f***. I highly suggest that you watch it if you haven't already. However, as I was watching it, I got onto episode 5 of season 3, all right? And they begin to discuss one of the cast members, Perry, FaceTiming her date from the previous day. And for some reason, we get this jump scare of a shot. Like, whoa, dude. What are we doing, people? No, this immediately set me off. I was like, what is this shot, bro? Like, who is filming at Netflix right now? Hit the brakes. You got Perry laying in her bed, feet front and center with a low depth of field. And then she's wiggling her piggies. Like, what is this? Was that the director's choice or something, dude? So when I saw this, it just got me thinking. This may be a one-off situation, a fluke even. But not only did the cameraman film it, but it was also added as an editorial choice for like a cutscene. Like it passed multiple checks and balances. And this is the final product that we got, guys. So was this a rogue cameraman or did they plan on having this in-your-face foot shot off the rip? The more I think about it, the more questions I have, so hopefully we can solve a few of them today. The first logical thing would be to assume that this is a one-off situation, you know? Maybe it was an artistic choice or something, I don't freaking know, dude. But in the very next episode, we actually get another foot shot. I just so happened to stumble on it while I was searching for the last one. And this time, they get my boy James out in the wild. He was setting up a fire pit for like his friends and shit. He had like a little get together, and then boom, at the 33-minute mark, again, something with that 30-minute mark, we get a little foot shot of James. And I think that there may be a few more sprinkled out throughout the season. Like, I just don't understand. What is the deal here? Is there just some cameraman who's creeping around the corner, locked in on some bare feet? Like, it seems a little odd, to say the least. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. I guess you could say we're on the tiptoes of the iceberg, guys, because I decided to research this, and apparently no one is talking about Love on the Spectrum because this theme is much, much more prevalent in the Netflix original series, Love is Blind. Doing a quick Google search for does Netflix have a foot fetish? Like, I don't even know what I'm typing anymore, guys. Subscribe to the channel, all right? My search history is cursed. But if you search that up, the top result is Love is Blind having tons of weird foot shots. Additionally, if you add Reddit to the end of that search query, well, then you get a bunch of threads, one after another, ranging from 2 months ago to 2 years ago. The first thread I opened is titled, "Am I the only one upset by Netflix's foot fetish?" And the user goes on to explain how they did a lot of close-up shots of feet on Love is Blind, and how apparently they also used feet in the thumbnail of this show called My Orthodox Life. Now, I gotta be frank, the thumbnail thing, I don't know, it seems pretty normal to me. It's just some like high heels. What are you gonna do? However, the foot shots in Love is Blind are very similar to those I've mentioned on, Love on the Spectrum. But man, sometimes people on Reddit are insufferable because everyone was like, nah, you're losing it. And essentially gaslighting the loser for pointing out this strange theme. And as we go over some other Reddit threads, you'll see that some people are pushed to the point of deleting their accounts and deleting the threads altogether because the Reddit users at whole are kind of just like, you have a foot fetish. But nah, this stuff's weird, bro. We need to bring this out into the light. And with that being said, there are plenty of other threads where people seem to be way more receptive. Like this thread, for example, titled, "What's up with all the feet shots this season?" This user provides a photo of the scene in question, and yeah, they're weird angles, dude, for sure. The commenters on the thread seem to understand the poster's inquiry and agree, stating things like, Netflix hired Dan Schneider, or the cameraman just got creepier this season. And on another thread, the same sentiment is shared with people explaining again that the camera people are creepy, focusing on bare feet and women's chests a lot in these newer seasons. Another user by the name Medical Resource 6961 states that they have a foot fetish themselves, and they decided to Google this question because they noticed that there was way too many foot shots in this show. And then they put forward the idea that modern production techniques include things like this to keep 1 in 7 people interested. And first off, is it really 1 in 7 people that have a foot fetish? That seems kind of high if you ask me. I kind of doubt it. Let's see what we got. All right, I guess I stand corrected here. But separately, it's such a weird concept, dude. Oh, someone's watching our show and they're getting disinterested. Let's flash something they fetishize in front of them to keep them glued to the TV, bro. Like, what? That seems very weird. I don't know. And while I can't find any direct evidence that producers are using this technique or anything, I truthfully can't fully disregard it. Check out this Vice article I found from 2023 titled, "When Did Everyone Get So Weird About Feet?" In this article, it goes over how Gen Z, more than any previous generation, seemingly is uncomfortable about their bare feet being exposed. I don't know if you guys can relate to this. I'm Gen Z myself. I don't really care if my feet are exposed. I was literally just now, I was like, I'm gonna flash my feet. But nah, my feet are gross. Honestly, I think I have like athlete's foot. It is bad, bro. Somebody help me. But the article ties lines between Dan Schneider being exposed as a creep who had a foot fetish, among other things, and how after he was exposed for exploiting kids on Nickelodeon, the generation may have turned sour to the idea of exposing their own feet. I don't know if that's true or not. Comment down below if you guys can relate to that. They're making claims like, oh, people are cropping their feet out of photos and stuff. And if you guys do that, comment down below. Let me know. I don't know. It seems a little extreme, but maybe it is happening, and maybe Gen Z is uncomfortable with their feet. But I want to draw attention to this statistic they pulled that states in 2023, foot fetish-related content was 68% more popular among Gen Zers than any other generation on, that orange adult website. So, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, if Netflix is trying to appease the Zoomers' state of mind with some feet, I would really not be that surprised. It seems kind of feasible. So I wanted to see if there was any crossover between the production crews or the directors between these two shows. It's two love shows, two shows where you're following people. It's like a reality show. They're finding love. Maybe there's some crossover between. Maybe there's like someone in particular that we can pin this fixation on. And well, this was going to be much harder than I initially thought. If you hop over to the IMDb page for both shows, Love is Blind has a lot of information in there. There's so many people on the crew. Whereas Love on the Spectrum, not so much. It seems like a really boiled down crew. But Not only do they have a really small crew, but the information on here doesn't even seem to be up to date. Like in the camera operations section, they have 2 people listed here from 2022. It says one guy filmed 2 episodes and one guy shot photos for 1 episode. So I don't even know if I can rely on this information. So I had to do a little bit of digging and read the credits at the end of the episode on Netflix itself. This is going down, dude. How many advertisements does this streaming service have nowadays? Every time I go through the entire episode just to get to the end credits, I have to watch 40 seconds of ads. What are we doing, people? And for some reason, the camera operators were not even listed on Love on the Spectrum. Like in the credits, they just weren't there for some reason. But I went ahead and wrote down all the names in the credits at the end of a random episode in season 3 on Love on the Spectrum. And then I hopped over to the IMDb page for Love is Blind, did Control F, tried to cross-verify, and well, after I cross-checked all of the names for the camera people, the directors, the producers, there were no matches. Additionally, these shows are produced by 2 completely separate companies, meaning that there's really no way that they could be tied together. So maybe this really is just some sort of artistic direction or strategic cinematography in order to get like Gen Zers and foot fetish people. I don't even know, dude. I don't want to be lumped into this. I'm Gen Z. But I just wanted to go a little bit deeper, and I searched up a list of some of Netflix's most popular original shows. And then I searched up the title of said show with the addition of Foot Scene Reddit added to the query. And well, most of them had no results. However, there were 2 shows that did come up with a few. One was a Netflix series called Heartstoppers that follows 2 teenage lads in England who fall in love in primary school or something. The first one I stumbled on was actually while searching for Netflix foot fetish scenes in general, and I found this now deleted thread by a now deleted user. So there were some red flags in the back of my mind. In the comments, everyone's talking about wearing socks and such. So I backed out of the website, and on the Google page, you can see a little preview of what I think may have been the original post. And it states it's probably also creepy factor. All the people with foot fetishes watching a show about 15 and 16-year-olds. After reading that, I got a bit concerned. Now, I don't know if that was the original post or maybe it was just some comment. It seems like it could be a comment about like one of the characters or something. But still, we're talking about people watching a show who have foot fetishes. And there's 15 and 16-year-olds. Like, what are we doing, Netflix? So I was concerned with it, and I searched directly for feet-related threads regarding this show. And to my surprise, there were more. But they would actually shed more light on the situation, at least for this show in particular. Pretty much, most of the threads are related to the camera shots of shoes and feet of the main characters, one of which were wearing socks or something outside at one point, I think. I don't know. And people are asking about the symbolism and what it could possibly mean by having all of these feet-related shots. And what it really winds up being is the show is based off of a webcomic series, and there were multiple panels in the comic strips showing characters' feet and their shoes. So realistically, the show is just trying to stay true to the original art style of the source material, and I think that we can rate this show off. Another show that hit for the foot search was Stranger Things, a heavy hitter for Netflix. And boy, oh boy, were there a lot of threads regarding this. Some threads, like before, have less receptive commenters who imply that the posters are just foot fetishizers themselves. But I mean, the sheer amount of people asking about these scenes is slightly questionable. If you ask me, at least, I don't know. It seems weird, dude. It's not a coincidence at a certain point. And it seems if people post a reference photo, the commenters are much more receptive, sharing their own thoughts on the matter, mostly confirming what the poster is saying. And like I said, it goes on and on and on. And with Stranger Things, it's kind of weird because the show follows a cast of kids. It's not a kids show by any means, but you know, I find it really odd if they are in fact focusing on feet in an attempt to get the attention of those who fetishize them. But with that being said, I don't know, guys. It's like 2 a.m. right now. I have work in 4 hours. and I think I've researched the extents available to me now. It seems this theme may be carried from producer to producer, or maybe it's just a modern technique to grab the attention of one person in a room of 7 people. You know, that one creep. Or maybe people are just really fixating on these scenes and we're all depraved or something. I don't know. That scene with Perry in Love on the Spectrum was wild. I don't care what anyone says to me. There was definitely a cameraman creeping for sure, dude. And if they are truly using this technique, it does seem kind of gross to me because you have these cast members who are definitely not like willing participants. I don't know if they know that the camera's zoomed in on their feet, you know what I mean? It just seems very gross to me. But that's about it, guys. What do you make of all of this? Have you ever noticed this weirdness on Netflix or other shows in general? Do you guys think that people are overanalyzing this situation? And do you have a foot fetish? Don't be ashamed, just comment down below. Are you subscribed to Peablar TV too? No? Well then ring that bell and hit that subscribe because I have a folder on my laptop called Netflix Feet now. So that would be the least you can do, brother. Be a real one and join the Peablar army because we are ever growing and I'm coming at you with weekly uploads just like this. So you're gonna love it, dude. Make it a part of your weekly schedule. But that's gonna do it for me, guys. Again, I am your boy Peablar. It's been real, and until next time, be well and peace.